I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible.
In an era without a single word of dialogue, he was the biggest star on the planet. He was a tramp with a tattered suit and a heart of gold. A tiny man who took on the world with nothing but a cane and a smile. He was a mirror for the downtrodden, a symbol of hope in a world recovering from a great war and heading toward a depression. But the magic you see on screen, the effortless grace, the profound emotion, and the belly-shaking laughter, it all came from a life of poverty, pain, and a brilliant, almost obsessive pursuit of perfection. Tonight, we're going to step back in time to an age when silent movies weren't a gimmick, but the language of a new art form. We'll uncover the secrets behind the man who gave the world the Tramp, the creative genius who made us laugh and cry with a single tilt of his head. We'll explore his battle with the changing world of cinema, his fearless stand against the biggest tyrant of his time, and the scandals that ultimately led to his exile. Get ready to discover how a boy from the streets of London became a global icon, a comedic force that changed cinema forever. Hello and welcome. When we think of comedy, we think of a punchline, a clever joke. But long before the words, there was Charlie Chaplin. His comedy was a universal language, spoken with a flick of his wrist, a roll of his eyes, and a tumble over a chair. To understand his genius, we have to go back to a place far from the glitz of Hollywood, the impoverished streets of Victorian London. From the London slums to a vaudeville star. Charles Spencer. Chaplin was born on April 16, 1889, into a life of abject poverty. His father was an alcoholic music hall performer who was largely absent, and his mother, a talented singer, struggled with her mental health. Young Charlie and his older half-brother Sidney spent their childhood in and out of workhouses, the grim, punishing institutions for the destitute. It was a Dickensian childhood filled with hunger, despair, and a profound sense of instability. But it was also in this world of hardship that Chaplin's artistry was born. He saw his mother perform, and he learned the power of the stage. He saw the struggle of the common man, and it fueled his desire to find humor in tragedy. He was a natural performer, and by his teenage years, he had joined a famous British vaudeville troupe called the Fred Carnot Company. He was a master of pantomime, able to convey complex emotions and tell a story without saying a single word. He was so good, in fact, that his fame on the vaudeville circuit eventually led him to America. The birth of an icon, how the Tramp was created. In 1914, Chaplin was hired by a film studio called Keystone, run by the legendary Mack Sennett. Sennett's films were a chaotic mix of slapstick gags, car chases, and pratfalls. The studio's mantra was simple. If it moves, chase it. If it falls, laugh at it. But Chaplin was different. He was told to put on a comedy makeup to find a character. And according to his own famous story, he went to the wardrobe, and in one brilliant, spontaneous moment, he created the Tramp. He chose baggy pants, an ill-fitting jacket, an old derby hat, and a pair of oversized shoes. He added a small toothbrush-style mustache to make him look older without hiding his expressive face. He gave him a bamboo cane to twirl. He wanted every part of the outfit to be a contradiction. The pants baggy, the coat tight, the hat small, the shoes large. But the real genius wasn't in the clothes. The Tramp was a gentleman at heart, a dreamer with the manners of an aristocrat, but the reality of a homeless vagabond. He was a poet, a fighter, a lover, and an everyman, and the audience fell in love. He wasn't just another slapstick comedian. He was a character with a soul. He quickly took over the direction of his own films, and his perfectionism and artistry set him apart from the frantic chaos of his peers. While others rushed to get a shot, Chaplin would do 100 takes to get the precise emotional beat and the perfect comedic timing. He was a one-man film studio. He wrote, directed, acted, produced, and even composed the music for his films. A new kind of comedy, the power of pathos. With his newfound creative control, Chaplin started to push the boundaries of comedy. He began to inject his films with something that had rarely been seen before in the genre: genuine heartbreak and social commentary. This was the birth of pathos, the ability to make you laugh and cry in the same breath. And his first masterpiece of this new style was the 1921 film, The Kid. This film was a beautiful, semi-autobiographical story of a tramp who finds an abandoned baby and raises him as his own. The bond between Chaplin and his young co-star, Jackie Coogan, was so powerful and real that it transcended the slapstick gags. When the authorities try to take the boy away, the tramp's frantic, desperate pursuit is a moment of pure, raw emotion that still resonates today. It was a comedy that dared to be serious, a film that used laughter to explore the pain of poverty and the profound beauty of human connection. It was a work of genius, and it showed the world that silent comedy was an art form, not just a series of cheap gags, but the sound of silence, a battle against a new era. In the late 1920s, a technological revolution shook Hollywood to its core: sound. The silent era was over. Warner Brothers, the jazz singer, had audiences rushing to see actors speak on screen. Almost overnight, silent film stars were out of a job, unable to transition to the new medium. But not Chaplin. He was the most famous man on earth, and he saw sound as a threat. He believed that dialogue would destroy the universal art of pantomime that he had perfected. He famously said that dialogue may or may not have a place in comedy, but it does not have a place in the sort of comedies I make. So he did the unthinkable. In 1931, years after the talkie revolution, he released what many considered to be his greatest masterpiece: a silent film with a synchronized musical score and sound effects, but no spoken dialogue. City Lights. The film's final scene, where the blind flower girl he has helped finally sees his face for the first time, is perhaps the most emotionally potent moment in cinematic history. It's a moment of profound recognition and heartbreak, told entirely through expression and gesture. It proved that a silent film, in the right hands, was more powerful than any talking picture could ever be. He would make one more silent film, the brilliantly satirical Modern Times in 1936, a final farewell to the Tramp, and a scathing critique of the dehumanizing effects of industrialization. A voice for the downtrodden, the politician, and the exile. For his first true talkie, Chaplin didn't just add dialogue. He used his voice to make a powerful, dangerous statement. In 1940, while the United States was still neutral, he released The Great Dictator, a blistering satire of Adolf Hitler and fascism. In this film, Chaplin played two roles: a ruthless dictator and a gentle Jewish barber. His mockery of Hitler with the famous Globe scene was seen by many as either an act of courage or a reckless gamble. But the film's final scene, when the Jewish barber is mistaken for the dictator and addresses the world, is perhaps Chaplin's most significant moment. He looked directly at the camera, dropped his character, and delivered a passionate, heartfelt plea for peace and humanity. It was a message that resonated with a world on the brink of war. He was no longer just an entertainer, he was a political voice, But his politics and his eccentric personal life made him a target. He was a lifelong humanitarian who was openly critical of capitalism and inequality, and he refused to take a side in the Cold War. The FBI, led by J. Edgar Hoover, began a massive investigation into his un-American activities. He was accused of communist sympathies, and he became a pariah in the country he had made his home. In 1952, after a trip to London for a film premiere, the U.S. Attorney General revoked his re-entry permit. Charlie Chaplin, the man who had become an icon of the American dream, was exiled from the United States. A legacy that lives on. He would spend the rest of his life in Switzerland, a forgotten figure in the very country he had helped shape. But time, as it always does, gave us perspective. In 1972, he was invited back to the United States to receive an honorary Academy Award. The audience gave him a 12-minute standing ovation, one of the longest in Academy history. It was a tearful, beautiful moment of redemption, a final acknowledgement of his profound and undeniable genius. Charlie Chaplin died on Christmas Day in 1977, leaving behind a legacy that is still felt today. He taught us that comedy doesn't need words to be brilliant. He showed us that a small man with a big heart can face down a brutal world. And he proved that film could be more than just entertainment. It could be a powerful tool for social change, a mirror for humanity, and a source of both laughter and tears. He was the greatest comic artist of the screen, a man who, in the silence, spoke volumes.